Otakuans, welcome back to the Otaku Octagon. Today we do have a very special episode for you. Once again, Universus has decided to bless us with their newest set. This time around, we do have the Godzilla set, Challenger Series, one including both Godzilla and Mothra, and the second including King Ghidorah and Rodan. Along with these two challenger decks, Universe has also decided to send us a playmat so you can see this beautiful Godzilla playmat we have. I honestly really do love this playmat. This is probably one of my favorite playmats out of everything. I think only second to the Cowboy Bebop that I got from a very special friend. So this is definitely top 3 playmats I have in my collection. But let's jump into these challenger decks. I'm just simply going to go ahead and open up each of these boxes, showing what they do have inside. How I do want to focus is kind of really focusing on my decks. I do have about 6 decks, so really seeing whether or not the cards in here can be incorporated with what I do have. If they can, how, and if they can, who, and if they cannot, of course, where may they better be a better fit. So let's go ahead and start with Godzilla and Mothra. Get my scissors. Once we do open up our challenger decks, we're going to have of course, our challenger deck. Next, we have of course, our Challenger Series play. This is essentially just to help you learn how to play the game. So explaining what each of the cards are: attack cards, action cards, assets, how they interact with other cards in the game. And of course, we have our Challenger Collector's Pack. These collector packs, each of the Challenger decks is going to come with its own Collector's Pack. And inside of it, you have where you're going to receive alts, but you have a chance of receiving one of the bigger hit alts, and I'm talking about those character alts. So an alt of the King Ghidorah, an alt of the Godzilla, even an alt of the Rodan. Those cards are worth a lot of money and they are beautiful. So if you do plan on building, you may be looking for an alt character. If you do plan on, of course, just collecting, maybe the characters that come with these challenger decks will suffice because they are shiny. They do have their own foiling, so maybe if the alt isn't necessary, just grabbing the challenger deck will suffice. But if you're looking to maybe build on one of these characters, hunting that alt would be what's best. So let's go ahead and open up these collectors packs so that we can see what we got and show the people. All right, so we got ourselves a Titanic Combat that is on the symbols of chaos. We also have earth and we have water. Now I do play on chaos, so I might look into this one to see if it would be good for us. Next, we have a multiple bites. This is an attack card. I usually don't trade out a lot of my attack cards because usually whenever you do open up, whether it's a booster box, challenger deck, those attacks are going to be specific to characters. Now, they may have great interactions with other cards that you are currently using for a character, so I may see what type of interaction it has and if it will be good for me. But if not, I probably won't change out any of my attacks. Oh, okay. We got ourselves a Monster Zero. This is a rare alt. So this is going to be probably this is definitely going to be the hit of this pack. Is a rare alt. It's currently on Death, Void, Evil. So I actually might be able to use this. So I'm probably going to come back to this and see if it's something I can use in the future. Next, we have a Swooping Talons, another attack, a high attack. So that's always good with the high block. On Void, that's the only one I use. Is also on Water. I'm sorry, not water, air. I don't use those other 2 symbols, but I do use Void. But I probably won't change out my attack. And lastly, we do have a Monster Aggression on Chaos, so let's definitely check that one out later. So for that collector's pack, of course, I did get the Monster Zero rare alt, so that's definitely a good hit. I got a couple attacks, probably won't utilize. Might check out with any of my buddies and see if, hey, you got any attacks, any foundations you may not need. Maybe I can do a trade. And of course, these foundations, I did see they were on my symbols, so I might be able to utilize those. So far, we're looking good. All right, next for this deck. This one has its own plastic plastic, not just the plastic wrap covering the deck itself, but the whole plastic enclosure with tape down. So keeps it nice and safe. So jumping right into this, we do have the Godzilla character card. Behind that, we have a Mechagodzilla, another character. Next, we have the Mothra character card. And then we start to move on into the actual cards of this deck. First off, we have a City Rampage. This is on Chaos and Water and Earth again. Again, I'm not on Earth or Water, but I am on Chaos. While this card is in your card pool, your attacks get +1 speed, +1 damage. Interesting, that might be good for my Gentle Criminal. Form, your checks to play attacks with the printed difficulty of 5 or greater gets +2 for the rest of this turn. I played someone using this. I remember that +2 to all your printed difficulty of 5 or better. That might be useful because my General Criminal deck definitely runs a lot of 5 difficulty attacks. So yeah, we might look into this one. And it's an action. Actions are actually pretty good for my General Criminal deck. So let's go ahead and put this one to the side. Our actions. All right, next we have Gathering Energy. We got an asset. Gathering Energy. After you take damage, remove the top card of your deck face down. You cannot look at the removed card. This is a Chaos. Again, remove. Look at the face down cards and look at the face down cards removed by this card and choose up to 2 of them. Add the chosen cards to your hand and turn the rest face up. Interesting. I mean, it's on Chaos, which is a symbol I use, but I don't think this is going to interact well with anything that I'm currently using. So, good asset, but probably not good for what I'm doing with Gentle Criminal. So, we'll put that one to the side. All right, we got an Electric Moth. Electric Moth is an attack. It is on symbols we do not use. We do have it on air, earth, and good. All symbols we do not use. All good though. It is attack. I don't plan on changing into any new attack. So let's put that one to the side. All right, we got another attack, but we got a pretty strong one. Definitely specific to Godzilla. Heat Ray does have a Deadlock Stun 3 and a Fury range. Chaos Fury. This might be something good for my Dobby. I do have a Dobby 3 deck that is on Chaos and runs a lot of Fury cards. Let's check it out. This deck gets +1 damage for every 2 cards in your discard pile with a difficulty of 5 or greater. Okay. After this attack deals damage, flip 2 rival foundations. This is a really good attack. It could probably do well in my Dobby deck, but I have a lot of good attacks in my Dobby deck right now that's specific to the Dobby character, and this probably won't interact well with the Dobby character. I mean, has a really good response on it, but for what I'm doing, it's probably not really great for it. I do know the original Godzilla cards that came out, they do a lot with flipping rival foundation, so this is probably really great for that. So let's go ahead and put that one to the side. Another attack we probably won't be adding. All right, we got a foundation. History's greatest monster. This is on Chaos. Response once per turn. Tenacious. After you play a card with a printed difficulty of 5 or greater, ready this card. And a Deadlock Enhance. Commit your attack. Gains throw. Always good. The Deadlock Enhance is great. A lot of people I've been noticing have been going into the Deadlock a lot more lately. This is really good for if you do play a lot of attacks that have a 5 difficulty on it, which might be great for my Chaos deck, but just ready enough. A 3/5, I don't feel like that's super necessary for what I'm doing. It's probably more specific to the Godzilla character itself, but for me, probably not. So let's go ahead and put that one to the side. Into our foundations, we're probably not going to add. All right. We got the Shobijin's Message. This one is on symbols I am not using. On air, earth, and good symbol. As a response, flip after you play a block, it gains breaker 2. really good. If I was on air, a buddy of mine is on air. Flip after you play a block, it gains Breaker 2. So pretty much is adding Breaker 2 to all your blocks. Well, to one block at least, unless you have a way of unflipping this. It is a unique, so you can only have one, which is a good limit to it. But unfortunately, I don't use any of those symbols, but I'm going to make sure that he knows this exists. So, adding this to foundations, I probably won't be using. We got another attack, Destructive Slam. After this attack deals 7 or more damage, your rival destroys one foundation. A great attack. Great attack. Destroying a foundation. It might even work well with a Dabi, because Dabi, I really want my rival to fail his checks. So they have less foundations. Obviously, it makes it harder for them to fail those checks, or pass those checks. But again, outside of that interaction, it's probably not going to be good to add to my Dabi deck, and I don't necessarily need it in my Gentle Criminal deck either. So another attack, let's go ahead and add it to the pile. There's 3 of those, that's always good. Moving on, Flying Zap. After this attack deals damage, add the top card of your deck to your momentum. Really great for getting momentum. It is a response for when you deal damage, though. It is a 3 high for 2. So will it deal damage? It is a 3 high. So you may be able to deal damage because the opponent's like, hey, it's just 2 damage. So I'll go ahead and take it. If they know about the response and they want to make sure you don't get any momentums, of course, they can always block this attack. It's pretty slow, 3 high. When it comes to defense, though, it is a 1 low block, so it's super helpful with blocking those low attacks, and it does have a low number, so might be good to add to your deck. As for me, it is on air again, and good, and earth again. More symbols I do not play on. All right, another attack, Kaiju Clash. It does have powerful on it. Powerful, if you do spend your momentums, you can obviously add 3 damage, powerful 3, so 3 damage per momentum you spend. Again, not something I'm going to need. It's on Chaos, but for what I do, my kit, not necessarily. It's a 5, and I'm noticing a lot of the Godzilla cards are 5 difficulties, so this is probably a harder deck to play, but because you're using a lot of 5s, might be a lot better. Alright, next we have Mega Burst, another attack. It has stun 0 on it, but it has stun. Even though it says stun 0, there are other cards that you can add to its rating. So +1 to its rating, so it goes from a stun 0 to a stun 1. And I'm sure the hands on it or response on it is going to also utilize that to add more stun to it. So after you play this attack, it gets +1 to its stun rating for each attack in your card pool. So this is really good for comboing our attacks. So if we have like 2 attacks already in our card pool, we go ahead and throw this one in there. Now you get stun 3. So if you're on a run, and you're trying to finish your opponent off, obviously it is a 5 difficulty. So you do have to deal with getting over that progressive difficulty and checking this card in. But if you can't check this in, you now have stun 3, maybe even stun 4. Knock down those foundations so you can get another attack off. Chaos, again, not my style, not what I'm necessarily going to. So probably not going to be adding this one to the deck as well. Smashing Stump, enhance. Your next check to play an attack gets +1. Okay, always great. Responds after this attack deals damage, draw 1 card. Okay, so for this one, it has EX on it, so you can probably definitely move up the speed or boost the speed up to make sure this deals damage so you can draw a card. But also, this helps you get in more attacks. So a lot of these attacks do have that 5 diff. So this one's going to give +1. So basically ignoring this one, +1 to the check so you can get another 5 diff attack in. Pretty good, pretty good. Great for this toolkit, but not for my toolkit. All right, moving into some foundations. Maybe we have some we can use. Enhance, flip. If your rival has lost health this turn, draw 1 card. This one was on life. I would love to use this one in my Toga deck, but it is on Chaos. Um, 1/5, 2 mid block. Great card. Probably not going to add it to my deck though. Incomparable size. Flip this attack gets +2 or -2. Great for defense. Great for even for offense. But if I'm not able to unflip these cards, then it's probably not going to be that helpful to me. Again, also it's a 3 mid block, so probably not something I'm going to look to add to my deck. My life deck has a lot of unflipping of my foundations, so if it doesn't have life on it, I'm probably not, and it is a flip, I'm probably not going to consider adding it. All right. Ski. Oh, Skriok. I don't know what that says. Monster aggression. Enhanced. Destroy one foundation. Your attack with printed difficulty of 5 or greater gets +1 speed and +1 damage. 2 low block, so it's a pretty decent block. +1 destroy foundation. If you're using a deck where destroying foundations will be useful to you, this will probably be good for it. For my toolkit on Chaos, I'm not doing that on any of my Chaos decks, so probably not on that one as well. All good. Moth Monster Enhanced. Commit. This attack gets -2 damage. If you have taken damage from your rival this turn, it gets -3 instead. This is actually a pretty decent one. It's a 6 check. I would love to put this one in my deck. Also a 2 high block, but it's on air, earth, and good. All 3 symbols I'm not using, unfortunately. So we're going to be throwing this one into the not using pile. Next, we got a Titanic Combat Response. Commit. After you take damage from an unblocked attack, build the top card of your deck face down. Commit it. Interesting. Enhance your attack. Commit. This attack gets +2 damage and your rival commits 1 foundation. That's actually pretty decent. It's on Chaos. 3 low block. This requires you to take attacks, so you might want something to lower their damage. I don't lower damage on any of my Chaos decks. Last I checked. My Gentle Criminal deck, I want to block attacks, so I probably don't want to take anything, so it won't be good for that one. Great foundation, but something I'm probably not going to use. Tough Skin, another Godzilla card. Enhanced. Flip. This attack gets -1 damage. Again, this is a Chaos, but it's a flip. I don't have a way of unflipping it. 3 high block, 0 diff. Great card, but something I can't utilize. There's probably a lot of unflips in this deck somewhere, right? So, dropping that one down. All right. We got about 2 more left. We got a Unmatched Power. First Enhance, remove. This attack gets +X damage. X equals its printed difficulty. On Chaos. Okay. So, of course, the printed difficulty, a lot of these attack cards are going to be 5 in this deck, so that's probably why this one might be more useful. I'm going to have to remove this card. I don't want to lose any foundations. I don't think there's any deck again that I'm probably going to use this for. And it's a 3/5. Maybe it was like a 1 or a 2. I could probably use this one in my Dobby deck. But as a 3/5, probably not. And our last one, we got an Unstoppable Force on Chaos. Let's check it out. We got a Deflect 2. Deflect is something that's pretty new to me. I think it existed before. Deflect is essentially, I can play this card before the block to deflect or -2 to the damage. So I'm taking damage, but I'm going to -2 to that damage because I use this card to deflect it. Unstoppable Force, Enhance, Commit. Return your attack to its printed speed. So this is for your own attack. So I know there's a asset that I use in one of my decks that can return this attack, so I can use it both offensively and defensively. This one I can only use offensively. It's a good deflect or a good defensive card. You can deflect cards. It's a 1/4, it's a 2 mid, so I probably won't be utilizing it. This one I'm guessing if you're worried that your opponent is going to lower your speed, or if you're lowering your own speed in order to do something, then you can always bring it back to its original speed. So something I'm probably not going to use, but it is a great card. All right, so that was the Challenger deck itself. A lot of great cards in there, but let's look at those cards again that I possibly can use. First off, we got that Gathering Energy. On Chaos, after you take damage, remove the top card of your deck face down. You cannot look at the remove card, and then obviously you can pick them up later. On Chaos, it's a 1 mid, 1/5 asset. Assets aren't super important to me on my Chaos decks. Decent, but not something I'm going to use, unfortunately. Moving on to those foundations, we do have that Monster Aggression. Destroy one foundation. Your attack with printed difficulty of 5 or greater gets +1 speed, +1 damage. Do I destroy any foundations or use any of those type of foundations where I want to destroy in my Chaos decks? I don't believe so. My Fire deck, yes. And my Void deck, also yes. But in my Chaos decks, I don't believe so. So this one goes to the side. Unmatched Power, remove this attack. Gets plus X damage. X equals its printed difficulty. We have the regular card in here, but this is obviously the alt of that. Don't need that one. And lastly, Titanic Combat. Commit after you take damage from your unblocked attack. Build the top card of your deck face down. Again, another card that we had before. Probably not going to end up using it though, but I'm sure that is pretty good for this deck. City Rampage though. City Rampage is something that I might use in my Gentle Criminal deck. It does look kind of OP, so I will consider using it later. But that is all we have for the Godzilla Mothra Challenger Series. It was pretty awesome. I do like these character cards. Well, of course, we do have Mothra. I really wanted to hit the alt for one of these character cards. They act, like I said before, they go for big money. They look great if you want to just build on that character itself, and they do have really good enhances and whatnot. From what I'm seeing in this deck, the interaction that I believe it wants to have, I have a lot of those cards from previous sets. So if I ever decide to build on these character cards, might be very useful. Here's our Mechagodzilla. May discard card as though you were to spend 1 momentum each time you play the cost of an EX or powerful ability. Okay, pretty good. So the floating effect on this card, basically you can discard a card from your hand instead of discarding momentum when you're trying to EX powerful things such as that. In response, after you play a card with a printed difficulty 5 or greater, draw 1 card. So if you have a lot of attacks with a 5 difficulty, every time you play one, you're drawing a card. So if all your attacks are 5, every time you play an attack, you draw a card. Another attack, you draw a card. That's kind of OP. I know these Godzilla cards are OP. I've played it a couple times before, especially when -1 came out. So for them to come back, it's going to be scary. Definitely going to be scary. But of course, we got Godzilla, King of Monsters. Giant monster. Your attacks with the printed difficulty of 5 or greater gets +3 damage. So every attack with 5 or more 5 printed difficulties gets +3 damage. Okay. Enhanced. Spend 1 momentum. Your next check to play an attack or block gets +2. Yikes. First form, once per game, commit, discard 4 cards, destroy all foundations. Only playable if there are 10 or more foundations in all stages combined. That's crazy. So you can just decide once per game, be like, hey, you know what? Let's start this whole thing all over again. And destroy all foundations on the board. This might be a great interaction if you have foundations that have extra effects on them. Like if you destroy this foundation, your opponent's next card to play gets -1. I know that's the MLA card. I use that in one of my decks. +2 health if this goes to your graveyard. I know that's on another card. So this might actually be pretty useful. So if you're losing, your health is getting pretty low, you got 4 of those +2 if this goes to your discard pile. You got a couple of those. Your next opponent's card to play gets -1, and you destroy all of those. It's gonna be a bad it's gonna be a bad next turn for your opponent. So this might be pretty useful. Well, there you have it. Of course, I did a quick unboxing of our first gift from Universus. Is that Godzilla and Mothra Challenger Series. I do plan on doing another one for the King Ghidorah and Rodan, But for now, this is what we have, and I hope you like what you saw. Peace.